This is exciting. This is going to be a great day, a great breakout. Congratulations for being here. That is amazing. It says a lot about you and the quality you have to be even to be in this breakout. That's exciting. Here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to waste a lot of time, not even a big intro, just a couple of quick reminders, and then we're going to get right to it so the speakers can give you the goods. So one thing is, if you have any questions as we go through the messages, make sure you're typing them into the Q&A box. Okay, so any questions, make sure you're typing them into the Q&A box, because if we have time at any point today throughout the breakout, then we will stop and ask some of those questions. So if you have a specific question for a specific speaker, I would suggest that you put that person's name in the box with the question. So it could say like Curtis and the question, or Brian and the question, or Rob and the question, for example. If you just have a question that you would be happy to hear the answer from any of the speakers, then just put the question in there and we'll make sure that it's, if we have time, we'll make sure to get it out there so people can answer it. The nice thing about Q&A, by the way, is even if we don't have time to do them live, we are still going to get those questions to the speakers post-event so that we can get those sent back out. So if you have a question, ask it, because even if you don't get the answer today, you will get the answer eventually, and that is better than not asking at all. So here's how we're going to do it. The first part of this breakout is a panel of 3 people. I'm going to give you the intros for all 3 people before we start, and then they're just going to go back to back to back, and then we'll do Q&A at the end if we have time. So the order of the speakers are going to be Rob Robincheck, Curtis JQ, Stephen Decker. Okay, and check this out. You guys are going to be so excited to be here today listening to these guys, because here is some information about these 3 speakers. Number 1, Rob Robincheck. He is a career sales of $4.4 million in Cutco now. His 2021 highlights, listen to this: 1.3 million in sales for the year, Silver Cup winner, of course, 326,000 SC2 push, 259,000 July, 219,000 November. He's a national cross trainer, and he ran the first ever business mentoring program last year, and it is still running it this year, of course, as well. And Business Gifts isn't the only program really that Rob has helped pioneer. But way back in the day, Rob helped pioneer the events program. In fact, the thing that we're here for today together, the national events training, he helped pioneer that program as well. He was asked to speak today because he was the #1 business gift sales rep in the entire company last year. He has been actually for 4 years in a row. For fun, he loves to play basketball. He loves watching his kids play sports. He loves spending time with his family, Katie, Gabby, Bella, and Robbie. When he splurges on himself, it's massage. He actually, since he had such a great year, splurged on himself and his family and bought them a massage chair and a hot tub just recently. So that's exciting. And then people that know Rob well love him for his willingness to give back and for how ethically he runs his business. Something that most people don't know about Rob, but I think is super fascinating, is that he is a chess champion. So thinking strategically is something he's really good at, obviously not just in Cutco, but in other ways. And if you don't know Rob well, just think of the movie Rudy, Notre Dame, right? Rudy, just think of Rudy. Rob is like Rudy. That's Rob right there in a nutshell for you. Next speaker that will be on this panel is Curtis JQ. He barely needs an introduction, but I'm still going to give you the highlights. Curtis will get a much more thorough introduction tomorrow when he speaks at NET. So I'm just going to give you the real highlights right now, because they are highlights. So Curtis is at 9.2 million in Cutco career sales. He's currently the #2 highest selling rep ever in the history of the company. That is amazing, Curtis. 2021, he had his best January ever at 140K. He had 6 out of the 12 were his best months ever. 2 campaigns were his best campaigns ever. And of course, he had his best year ever. I believe it was over, I don't think I have it written down, Curtis, but I think it was 1.2 million that he did last year and some change. He can correct me if he needs to when he's speaking. He's a 4-time Silver Cup champion. In fact, 16 out of the last 18 years, Curtis has been either #1 or #2 in his category. That is amazing. If there was an award for #2 that was like a Silver Cup, Curtis would have the most of them for sure. Also, he's the most consistent competitive rep with over $1 million in sales a year, 4 years in a row, right? Years, not 4, but 4 FOR. And part of why Curtis is so good at what he does is because he really understands the psychology of working with customers. And that's some of what he's probably going to be sharing with you today too, when it comes to business gifts. Last man on the panel is Stephen Decker. Stephen Decker, if you don't know Stephen well, super fun guy. Steven has always been funny. He's always been curious. He's always been enthusiastic. Probably part of why he was asked to be and was the Tiger mascot of his high school, right? By the way, Year of the Tiger just started today, Steven Decker. If you do the Lunar New Year's and all that stuff, that just started today. Good for you. Nowadays, he's still funny. He's way more confident. And he has a much better beard. Wait till you see it in just a few minutes. His 2021 highlights: had his best year ever, over $420,000. His best year previous to that was $296,000. So he grew a lot last year. He also had his best month ever, over 100K, his best week ever, over 66K, his best order ever, over 31K. And he was in the top 20 of all reps in the entire company in business gift sales. Again, why he's speaking today. Some of his strongest skills are handling objections, shortening the sales cycle, and working with business gifts, especially at the booth. So any of you working events that want to sell more business gifts, glad you're here to listen to this message. He loves to jump rope. He loves yoga. He loves long walks while listening to podcasts on a sunny day. And he loves buying ridiculously expensive and unnecessary stuff, which is how he called it, not me. So things like his signed Champ Bailey jersey, which he's like, I don't know if anybody really needs that, but he likes it. He's got it. That's Steven. So those three guys are about to bring the goods. So Rob, you'll go first. Curtis, you'll go next. Steven, you'll go last. And if we have time for Q&A, we will do that. So Rob, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate the introduction there. Super fired up to give this talk. I mean, we're talking about closing business gifts at the booth, talking about my favorite thing, business gifting. And so I wanted to kind of start out with a 60-second business overview pitch, power intro. It's extremely effective at the booth, first-time interactions with anyone when you want to tell them about our business program and let them know this is what our company does, and we are only going to be doing more and more of it every single year as this program continues to grow and become one of the biggest program in the company. So once you identify at the booth, I'm going to dive right in. I'm actually going to read the approach, and then I'm actually going to dissect it a little bit and tell you why each line and each section is extremely important for you guys. Once you do find out, you're talking to someone that owns a business, and then you're talking to the decision maker of that business. The last thing you want to identify is what industry they're in. So then you can speak to their needs, and then you're going to this is what I say, and what I found gets me the best results to open up conversations and to dive deeper. So it goes along this line. I'll read it first and then go through it again. It goes, do you know our company works with companies in your industry on high-end relationship gifting solutions? Your first thought may be how high-end handmade kitchen cutlery works in your industry, right? Well, we found retaining employees and employee satisfaction is on the top of the list for companies in your industry and really in any industry. Employees are a massive cost outside of salary and hourly cost. They have the medical, the insurance, 401k, everything involved with onboarding. With that being said, the last thing companies want to do is lose employees and start over with someone new. What we do is customize and build a program that employees feel special, and that we do it through artifacts that are practical and best of class that sits on your employees' countertops or stay in their kitchen for their entire lives. We found this is more effective since they would be using this every day instead of trinkets or trash, gift cards or bonuses, jackets, hats or polos, all the things your competitors do and your employees use once, never use or throw away. Then we also have another division that focuses on customers instead of taking them out to dinners, events or entertainment, or spending money on gift cards and consumables, which are all used and forgotten about and really only add up to one impression. So we found a solution that takes care of your employees and their inner circle, like their spouse and family, by keeping you top of mind and getting you more impressions is more of an effective way and use of your money and time. This also applies to vendors, suppliers, partners, contractors, or anyone connected to your business. Would you like to learn more about this program? So there's the pitch that I do at the booth. Like I said, any first-time interaction. So let me just dive into each section real quick, and then I'm going to talk about at the very end 4 steps to close the booth to get an initial order, a pilot order right from the very beginning. The first piece, do you know our company works with companies in your industry on high-end relationship gifting solutions? So keep in mind, guys, you may or may not know this, but companies really don't care about gifts, but they do care about relationships. So that's why I want to make sure I tie in relationships, because that's the most important part of everything we're talking about. Then the next piece is to really call out that elephant in the room, is that companies are looking at knives, and the first thing a lot of companies actually think about is, what the heck does this even make sense? Why would I even use this? Or this doesn't have any relationship to my industry or to what I'm currently doing, right? So that's why I asked that. Then again, I want to hit on a hot button that, again, the companies have a lot of costs with employees. And the last thing they want to do is, of course, lose those people. So I really want to hit on a pain point for them that, again, pretty much any company is dealing with to some degree. Then again, I want to talk about what we do and what makes us different about our program compared to any other programs out there, which again, most of it, it's just promotional type stuff, you know, and things with logos and things that are not really pertaining to the employees. And just so you know, the low-hanging fruit, which is different from CGC, the low-hanging fruit is employees that companies will take care of first. And then on the back end, of course, we can take care of customers. And that's why I talk about the other program, which is our customer program. So I want to hit on both main programs, and then I finish up just letting them know this is not just for employees and customers. We can expand the whole horizon. Certain things you say in here, you know, if you have a good relationship, you can get away and say that. I mean, when I say trinkets are trash, it really is. It's trash. It's spending money to have a negative impact, and it's wasting money. And so when you really get to the root of it, companies really understand that. And so I love saying that, because I can get away with it, because again, I've really kind of hit on some areas that they're like, man, I know I shouldn't be doing that, right? So that's, again, how to really kind of open up the program and then just see if there's more interest. And again, when they want to learn more about the program, then I know, okay, great, I have someone that could be very interested in either buying today, right now here on the spot, or someone that would be a great follow-up for the future, right? Because again, I always say at least 3 meaningful interactions to a sale. So let's dive into the second piece real quick. 4 steps I put together to close at the booth. Again, we always want to focus on making sure that we sold them residentially first, especially if they don't own any Cutco. But again, business gifts is a great add-on and a great future sale for you as well. So the goal is to identify the barriers to success and get that pilot order as you start to build the trust in the relationship with that business owner. Typically, a sale to booth probably is not going to be your largest order ever with that company. As you build that relationship and start to sell them year after year after year, you'll start to see average orders double and triple that I've seen over the last 4 years. So step number one, again, we identify a business owner, and we identify that they're the decision maker and no one else is involved in the process. And I think that's important to note that, again, I just found out a lot of times, hey, I'm talking to the business owner, and then I get to the very end, I've exposed pricing, I've kind of went for the close, and then he's like, oh, great, let me run this by my other partner, or let me run this by the, other people that I run these ideas by. So make sure you dive a little bit deeper on that question. But if you identify that and clearly defined that this person, can make that final decision, doesn't need anybody else involved, now selling at the booth is an option. Number 2, identify budget and timing of gifts, right? What you want to do is kind of meet them where they're at. And if you identify $100, $200, $300 per employee, whatever that number is, create that customized solution based on their comfort level and what they're already spending. And then again, if they're thinking about end of year gifting, you want to make sure you address this at this point about doing it now instead of waiting to the end of the year. The best thing, without going too deep on this section, is just to use the giftology approach and not do the ABC giftings, anniversary, birthday, and Christmas, and do more surprise and delight, more planned randomness throughout the year. It's going to make that good gift a great gift, and in Cutco's case, a great gift, the best gift, right? Number 3, identify if they're, again, a past customer of yours, if they're a Cutco owner, or if they don't own. Now, again, I can still sell someone if they don't own personally, but if they already own, one less barrier to success of selling them on the idea of Cutco, they're already sold on it. So again, can move forward. Now, if all those three things make sense, the last step in this process then is to ask the question, if I was able to put an idea together that you really liked and it fit within your budget, would you be open or able to move forward today? So this is a really key question. If you're able to put in, if I was able to put an idea together that you really liked and fit within your budget, would you be open and able to move forward? So again, I'm identifying that there can make a decision. No one else, again, we flush it out one more time, just to make sure, in case the last question didn't, hit home with them. And if they like the idea, it's great budget, why wouldn't they do something right now and then? Now, the other thing then is, if all that makes sense and they say yes, then here's the closing, guys. Based on what I put together for other companies, or if you've never done gifting or just very little, or maybe not in their industry, you can say based on what we have done for other companies. But again, for me, based on what I've done for other companies, I would suggest, and then again, give them a suggestion. You're going to have the volumes pricing sheet, or have the volumes pricing sheet, make sure it's ready to go. And you have tons of options in the introduction collection, the 1-piece, the 2-piece, the 3-piece, all the way to the luxury collection, the outdoor items. Again, we can kind of put a solution together then and there real quick. And then, like I said, once I identify what their budget is, I can fit the solution to match it. And then again, the last thing, if I need to, after I expose the pricing, talk about the quantity discounts, what it includes, and everything that's part of that package deal. If they're good with it, great. If not, hey, what I can do, and because whatever event and whatever you want to promote at that time, or customer appreciation event, just to move them forward in these months until the end of the year, say, hey, I can move you to the next level on the discounting sheet. If you could decide to go ahead and want to do something today. And basically it's like taking someone from thinking about maybe 20 pocket knives, for instance, and saying, hey, if you go to 26, so one more than 25, I can give you pricing at 50 and basically double your discount. You're doubling their level of discounting. Even though they're getting 26, they're getting pricing at 50. And they're like, what? That's amazing. That's great. And for us, it's basically one more item for free when you actually run the numbers. So that's what I had for you guys on selling at the booth, the actual pitch and what that sounds like, and why I say what I say. And again, I'm getting some instant sales right away at the booth. Hope that helps, and excited to see business gifting blow up this year and for many years to come.
Thank you, Rob. Now we're moving on to Curtis.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to first off say Happy New Year's. May it be prosperous and happy, and you guys find lots of wealth today. And happy birthday to Miss Deanna. Wishing you a big birthday all the way here from Colorado. But first thing what I want to do is just want to talk to you guys about what I do moving into a booth when it comes to business gifts. First thing that I put in here is you got to plan, and then you have to strategize what you're going to do when you're there at the booth. A lot of times what we do is we just throw ourselves in somewhere and just hope that things work out and that someone randomly runs into us and buys a lot of Cutco. And what I'm planning to do here in the next few minutes is just teach you guys how you guys can plan out a better strategy when you're at a booth or when you guys are working to get more business clients to work with you. So the first thing I have here is know your target market. A lot of times when you guys go to a show, you don't pay attention to who's attending that show. You're just hoping that there's lots of people and those people just come up to the booth and buy stuff from you. So what I have here is pay attention to every single person that comes up to that booth or might come to that show. So for instance, if it's a home show, there's going to be landscapers there. There's going to be roofers there. There's going to be fence and deck people. There's going to be kitchen remodelers. There's going to be realtors. And there's going to be the big one, which is subcontractors. And those people are always looking for ways to build their business and keep their clients close to them. So knowing that if I'm at a home show, those are the type of people that could be or might be at the booth, That makes you focus and channel your energy a little bit differently with the clientele that you're working with at that event. The other thing I have here is with rodeos, you have ranchers. Now, the big thing with ranchers is they already have their own brand. How easy is it for you to put that brand on Cutco and get them to buy Cutco and give it out as gifts, right? Other people at rodeos, custom croppers, livestock sellers and raisers, crop spraying companies, outdoor fitters. And outdoor fitters are people that help people do guided hunts, right? These are very interesting shows that are different, but the customers are different as well. So we need to know those dynamics. State fairs, I wrote down state fairs. You never know who's going to be at the booth. You know, when they walk around the state fair, that most business gift owners or people that own businesses are attracted naturally to high-end products. So when they walk around a state fair, naturally we're a high-end product, so they come up to our booth more often, right? You also have to pay attention to owners that bring their employees to the state fair as well. It's always awesome when you can get that owner come up to the booth with their employees and then start talking about business gifts. And next thing you know, all the employees are going, oh, I wish I had Cutco. I wish you could get me Cutco. That'd be awesome. It'd be great for you to do that, right? That's how I've picked up dentists. That's why I've picked up random people at the state fair. And that's just because my mentality has changed to always look for new business owners that are there. What you need to do is you need to take a step back before you start your shifts and take a moment and recognize who potentially can be at your show. That way you can start a game plan for moving forward with those customers at the booth. The other thing I put here is assume that all customers either own a business or know someone who does have a business. When you assume that they have a business or you assume that they know someone that owns a business, it's easier for you to have a better conversation and have that rapport with that client while you're standing there at the booth, okay? This will also help you learn for verbal cues that lead to asking questions. And I wrote some of those verbal cues, and that's my business partner has these knives, right? One of my clients talks about these. Oh, wow, people actually engrave their names on these, right? These are verbal cues that if you already are planning for business owners to come up to the booth, once you hear these lines, I call them triggers, right? They trigger me to almost immediately ask a question, which gets that ball rolling with the business owner. Assuming also makes you look for brands that you've never seen before, right? So what I want you to do is not only listen to the verbal cues, but look for verbal cues. And what that is that if you're looking around and you see a brand that you've never seen, something that's not Nike or not a random brand that we've been, ingrained in every commercial of our life, just assume that they are wearing a brand that either they represent or a brand that is their own. And this is the verbal cues. So if you see a brand that you don't know, make a comment about it. Is that your brand that you're representing? Oh, that brand would look great on our knives, right? All of these little verbal cues are going to make it easier for that customer to identify that you know what you're talking about when it comes to business gifts. If customers give you a verbal or a visual indication that they might own a business, ask them a direct question. The easiest one is, what do you do for work? Right? What's your occupation? What company do you represent? Right? These quick questions will allow you to use the information that Rob just gave you about how to introduce the business gifts to them and how to talk to them so that you can go right into strategizing what type of gifts that they should use. So I put on here the next thing after you plan. So all of that was just planning and getting ready for the strategy of closing a gift and getting customers to own Cutco at the booth, right? So strategizing, what you need to do is you need to understand what gifts people in their industry are currently using. Okay. You don't want to be someone that's talking to an outfitter and go, yeah, you should give these spatula spreaders out to all of your people. They would love it. And that guy's looking at you going, do you even know what I do? Do you even know anything about my inventory? Do you know anything about my industry? Right. So don't just dive into selling spatula spreaders and trimmers and cheese knives to every single client that gives you those verbal cues, right? You have to strategize. If you do not know what gifts that industry gives, then you need to do some research. It's really easy. All you have to do is contact Cutco, and then Cutco will tell you exactly what those industries or those people are buying, right? I could ask Cutco and say, hey, your outfitters, what gifts are they buying? I guarantee you they're either lockbacks, gut hooks, stuff like that, right? Ask about fencers, right? Ask about any different type of industry, right? Once you do your industry research, then it's easy for you to suggest gifts to your clients, right? I put here, the lockback is the easiest gift that you can sell in Cutco. If you want to start off with anything, start off with a lockback. Why? Because people in any industry love lockbacks, whether their clients use them, whether their employees use them, or whether it's just a great gift to give as a business card. Okay. And when I say business card, that is something that's perfect for you to tell your customers. Hey, a lot of our customers, they like buying these, our pocket knives, because A, they're an easy gift to give. B, everybody uses them every single day. And the thing that's nice is they make easy business gifts, like business cards. And the customer's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, we put your name and logo on it. So therefore it's a tax deduction. But if you have a guy that's about to buy a big job from you, this is an easy thing for you to pull out and say, hey, here's my business card. Give me a call when you can. That goes in their pocket. They talk about them all the time. Next thing you know, that guy's getting that easy sale, right? So strategize with them. The other thing that's nice about it too, is if you want to strategize better with your clients, what you need to do is understand who they're giving the gift to, right? And this is what Rob talked about. Most of the time, the easy fruit or the low-lying fruit that Rob talked about is their what? Their employees, right? So what you need to do is you need to talk about their employees as if that is something that they should have a no-brainer for, instead of giving away, that free pin or that hand gel or whatever it is that's at their booth, because they're spending unwanted money or unneeded money to make that happen. So the big thing today that I wanted you guys to do is plan out what you're going to do at your booth, who you're going to talk to, why you're going to talk to them, what they could potentially do for your business, and then strategize the gift in which you want them to give to their customers, their employees, or their clients. Other than that, I wish you guys good luck this year and sell lots of business gifts. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Curtis. Okay,
You're welcome.
Stephen, we're ready for you.
All right, cool. I will wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you, Curtis and Rob, for crushing the first into this. I'm just going to dive into more of the nitty gritty on actually kind of like selling in the booth, and just what I've found, at least over the last year or two, just kind of what's helped me. So there's three main areas. Number one is going to be visibility. And this is something that, you kind of, we've all talked about this so many times. It's like, if you want to sell something, you need to have it. It's so much easier to sell something whenever you have it. Now, that's not saying that we can't sell these things without having them. Of course, we've all sold things that, we weren't able to show the customers, but whenever you do have it, the first step in the cookware talk over the last several years has been like, get a complete set of cookware. And so my first step for this business gift talk is just like, get a crap ton of business gifts. One thing that we had John Clovey talk on one of our divisional calls, and he was talking about, where are you giving the real estate, or what are you giving the real estate in your display? Like we'll put the kitchen tools right next to the homemaker. It's like, how many thousands of dollars in kitchen tools do you sell a year? It's probably not as many. Whereas, if you put a business gift right there, it's going to make a little bit more of a difference. It's like you're probably more likely to sell a lot of business gifts than you are kitchen tools. So give that real estate to something that's really going to be a needle mover. And so where are the business gifts in your display? I've been working at our Fort Worth rodeo lately, and my display literally has business gifts across the entire thing. It's like, we have a 6-foot table of space, and I have an entire business gift section right here with 3 different gifts, the little pop-up display stand. I have 2 of my hunting knives engraved. I have like the big K-bar engraved with one of my customers' logos on it. I have a logo on a knife in my actual display. I have a shear's favorite right next to my homemaker on the other side of me. I have a giant vegetable knife with another one of my customers' logos right across and above my gadgets. So just have them out. It's going to be something that people are going to ask about. So ask yourself, it's like, hey, how quickly can I beef up my gifting display? Cutco has the gifting display kits that you can order, but really one thing that's really impactful is getting your customers' logos on knives. Just ask your customers if they're cool with you using their logo for stuff. So I have, a lot of my business gift displays are made up of customers that are actually mine. So I can be like, oh yeah, no, that's my buddy Aaron Baylor. He has a cabinetry company, and he gives out gifts to everybody that he builds cabinets for. And so it's one of those great little things that kind of tie people more into you and how you can help them in their business. There's other ways to kind of like, also just increase visibility. If you don't have a pop-up yet with the little tabletop thing, use like the little business gift trifolds. You can take those and just like literally set them standing up, and it says, do you own a business right there? Just create ways to make people see that this is something that you guys do, or this is something that we do. So next thing is going to be just ask the question. This is one thing. This is where the entire interaction for business gifts really, really starts. Just ask the question, like, hey, what do you do for work? That's it. Like, honestly, if you just ask that question to every single person that you sell to at the booth, you will accidentally sell business gifts, like at least once or twice over the course of the year. And that's the thing, is like, so many of us, like, we're wondering why we don't sell business gifts. And half the reason why is just because we're not asking people if they actually own a business. So that's going to be the big thing, is just ask the question, hey, what do you do for work? Worst case scenario for the 90% of people, or whatever percentage of people that don't own a business, you're just going to get a great report question. It's like, cool, build off of that and get to know your customers a little bit. But it's going to open up the opportunity for so many conversations for you guys to have. It's a great thing. And honestly, going back to kind of like the little first part of this, if you have more business gifts like littered all around, that's going to help remind you to ask that question. And so one feeds into the other, which is really, really nice. But yeah, just like ask the question, and create little reminders for yourself, whether it's like you need to write a note on the back of a block just to jog your memory to ask that question to every single person that you interact with. That right there is what is going to really start moving the needle in terms of getting you going with the business gifts. And then the last few minutes here, I'll just kind of tell you about some of my favorite strategies for whenever I'm at the booth and have, close somebody trying to upsell business gifts on there, because that's an easy way to kind of get your foot in the water. We always know that it's like, hey, once you get the credit card, it's game on, and then you can start upselling, upserving, whatever you prefer to call it. But that's the great thing, is like, it's really easy to kind of get into this by, closing it on something that you're already comfortable with. And so, like, let's say that you just sold something to somebody. There's a few different strategies that you can use just to kind of make it make sense, and that's really what you're trying to do with this, is just make it make sense to the customer. So one of my favorite ones, and I actually learned this from Frank Delgado. Shout out to Frank. It's like can we get you 10 of something? You're going to run into a lot of business owners that, like, they're going to need about, like, they're going to need 50 or 100 or 500 gifts. But that may not be a decision that they're ready to make right now. They might even not have the necessary people here at the booth to actually make that decision. But it's like there's somebody that's comfortable. It's like, hey, can we get you 10 of something? Just get them started on something, and that gets more than the seed planted. It kind of gets them something to take home, something to take to the partners. because it's like they can find some way to use, 5 to 10 of something. But the way that you can pitch it is just that, hey, we can do this right now. You get a bundle deal on it because we, include it with your set, and that locks in the price for the rest of your gifts. So whenever you guys are ready to add on, you're locked in at the show pricing for, all of the different gifts that you're wanting to do, whether it's 50, 100, 500, however. So it creates an amazing, thing for follow-up, and just kind of an easy jumping off point for you guys. And it's really cool because sometimes they like upsell themselves. I had a guy that we added on 10 two-piece sets to his ultimate set at the state fair, calls me back a week and a half later and it's like, hey man, we actually need to do like another 12 of those. And so it's cool. I was just able to call Cutco, add it on, be like, yeah man, that's great. So the cool thing is, since you're calling me right now, we can just add it on at the same package discount that we were getting you at the fair. And he's like, sweet, just run it, let's go. And so now his logo is on my K-Bar Outdoorsman. But yeah, and so it's like, it's a really easy thing. It's like, hey, can we just add 10 of something, and find a way to make them comfortable with something small like that and lead into the bigger things. Another great one is the, hey, let's make this whole thing a tax write-off. That's another great vein to hit. And so now it's not just you versus them, it's you and them on a team against the IRS. All right. And everybody hates taxes. We all know taxation is theft. And so if you can help keep some more of their money in their pocket out of creepy Uncle Sam's grubby claws, that can give them just a little extra justification that they need to do it. And honestly, sometimes that's what people need. It's one of those stupid things. It's like, how many things have you bought where it's like, you get this idea of why it's such a good idea now, where you're just like, oh yeah, no, I definitely need this shirt because it's like the perfect color to go along with this thing. It's just that little extra thing that can help make you justify it, where if you're like, hey, we can take this whole thing, we add on 10 gifts, even if we just add on, a brass plate with your logo on it, just to kind of get you in the system, or even if we just add on one gift with your logo on it, cool. Now this entire order is a tax write-off, and we can still get you in on that thing. Your logo will be digitized on file and ready to go for whenever we need it. And so that right there is pretty much what I got for you guys. I'm going to leave it at that. So thank you guys for having me. Hope to see some cool questions, and yeah, we'll let you get on to the next ones.
Thank you, Stephen. By the way, I love it. All three of you together. Seems like I've got lots of notes. Seems like we did a lot of just know your scripts, have a strategy, do some pre-planning and research, have the samples and the displays, have some things planned in mind, what you're going to ask and engage and all that stuff, and then just do it, right? Just implement.